Snippet.
Let's see what the gentleman that had the position before Janet had to say about something very similar.
One of the 6 Federal Reserve Board governors serving under Bernanke was Frederick Mishkin, who was appointed by President Bush in 2006.
Did you participate in these semi-annual meetings that Robert Gneizda and Greenlining had with the Federal Reserve Board?
Yes, I did. I was actually on the committee that was involved with the Consumer and Community Affairs Committee.
He warned in an extremely explicit manner about what was going on, and he came to the Federal Reserve Board with loan documentation of the kind of loans that were frequently being made, and he was listened to politely and nothing was done.
Right. So, again, I don't know the details in terms of in fact, I just don't, whatever information he provided, I'm not sure exactly. It's actually, to be honest with you, I can't remember this kind of discussion, but certainly there were issues that were coming up, but then the question is, how pervasive are they?
Why didn't you try looking?
I think that people did. We had a whole group of people looking at this for whatever reason.
You can't be serious. If you would have looked, you would have found things.
That's very, very easy to always say that you can always find.
Have no fear, America. These are the great minds that are on top of our financial institutions.
So what you find continuing on in the Inside Job that they did in 2010 is that they were warned several times. And again, as I keep talking to you about, as other people keep talking to you about, is this is something that's planned. The World Economic Forum not only wants us to move towards a central bank digital currency, they want to move us towards a global reserve digital currency. We're going to watch another clip from the Inside Job so you can see how this played out years ago and how we are kind of in lockstep right now.
Were you aware of the credit ratings held then by Lehman Brothers, Merrill Lynch, AIG, and did you think that they were accurate?
Well, certainly by that time, it was always clear that earlier credit ratings weren't accurate because they had been downgraded substantially.
No, they hadn't.
There was still some downgrading in terms of the industry and concerns, and certainly the stock price.
Not some. All those firms were rated at least A2 until a couple of days before they were rescued.
Well, then the answer is I just don't know enough to really answer your question on this particular issue.
Governor Fred Mishkin is resigning effective August 31. He says he plans to return to his teaching post at Columbia's Graduate School of Business.
Why did you leave the Federal Reserve in August of 2008? I mean, in the middle of the worst financial crisis.
I had to revise a textbook.
Sorry. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, while that's a documentary and we're filmmakers, this was actually happening. And
I'm sorry. It's like fictional. It's like hilariously funny.
And now for a Spero Pictures Health update.
And I'm having some brain fog, and you have got brain candy, which Matt and I both love.
Yeah.
And
I need more of it.
We need more. We do. We need to get some more. But, we've tried different things over the years. We've been, health buffs for a long time, but nothing like this. Tell us about this product. Why does it work? How often do we need to take it? All that kind of stuff.
So this is a very, very unique product. So BCATP, adenosine triphosphate. So let's go back into our biochemistry for anybody out there that wants to fall asleep. I'll take you through biochemistry real quick. So your body has trillions of cells in it. Every single cell has an engine in it, just like a car does. If you go and your engine's not working, your car's not going to go down the road. If your mitochondria, which are the engine in the cell, if the mitochondria are not working, your body will not get up and it will not move. It's just as simple as that. So your mitochondria make something called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Don't worry about the whole biochemistry of that. I'm just using it as a joke. But if you're not making ATP, you're not moving in life. You're not going. Yeah. And we joke about that sometimes, but seriously, there are people that actually don't get out of bed during the day. Yeah. There's people that don't get up. There's people that literally have to be home because they can't operate on a daily basis. Literally, all they can do is the basic components of life, which is like, turning on a TV, going and get some food, and then they just kind of lay. I have patients like this, so I know they don't get up in the morning. They lay in bed. They're sick. They're chronically ill, etc. So ATP does a couple things. So it goes in and it actually starts getting the mitochondria working again. It not necessarily bypassing it. If the body is struggling, if it has no ATP, it can't even heal. The body has to have energy just to heal. So first and foremost, it gets the body to start healing, which is key, right?
That's awesome.
It gets the cell to start working again. It also allows it to slowly detox. It actually, the reason why we call it brain candy is it's not actually called brain candy. It's got two nicknames. One is brain candy. One is Adderall without the side effects. Okay. And it's not a medication. But the reason I say that, I was once on Adderall in my 20s. And this stuff is so much better than Adderall. I'm not on any psych drugs now. But this actually gets you clarity of thought. It gets you energy. It gets you moving. And I always tell people, I dare you to take a couple capsules of it and then see how your brain starts working. Cloudiness goes away. Fogginess goes away. You get more energy. So overall, it allows the body the energy to start healing, but also, quite honestly, to just get your brain working again. It gets you focused. It gets you moving. It gets you going.
Yeah. It adds so much clarity.
Yeah.
And over the course of my life, I've just had just a ton of things. You know, I had kids young and old and hormones and just everything and stress right now. And you take this and all of a sudden you feel your brain function coming back and you can think clearer. You can work through stuff that would normally, cause you more stress. You're able to process through the information. Matt's so focused all the time on projects. He can get so hyper vigilant on everything. And, especially after the last few years and people shedding spike proteins and all that kind of stuff, we've done cleanses and everything. Matt's like, man, I'm just exhausted. Started taking this and he's like, I feel so much better. I mean, it's just helped both of us on many different levels.
Yeah, 10.
Yeah, it actually, we have, I'll let everyone know this. I have a webinar coming up. Here's a surprise. Cool. I have a webinar coming up completely 100% free. I mean, you can literally go to ADHDlie.com, just how it sounds, ADHDlie.com. I'm doing it April 1st. It's going to be April 1st on a Saturday, 11 a.m. Go to that website. It'll give you all the details and sign up. It's totally free. And the reason I bring that up is because BCATP is it's a game changer. So I was actually diagnosed about 26 years old by a psychiatrist who was a complete joke with ADD. And what I found, and you guys can kind of, I think, appreciate this, was later on I learned, it wasn't right away, they put me on Adderall and Zoloft, which didn't work very well because it made me very spacey. And I'd never done drugs, so I didn't know what high was, but it was a very spacey feeling when I was on them. And what I really learned was that I didn't have ADD or ADHD because those aren't actually really diagnoses. What they are was I had a creativity, right? I had an artistry to myself that I didn't know about. I had to be very productive. Like today, I'm very productive. I'm a doctor. I do podcasting. I help my wife with her company. We're constantly creating new things, etc. And it's funny when I keep my mind focused and when I'm working on something creative, I don't get distracted. I don't even think about other stuff. I'm just in it, right? And so, there you go. So I'm doing that webinar, ADHDlie.com, because I want people to know about this. You don't have to be just diagnosed with the next best thing you don't need to be on a bunch of psych drugs to get it figured out. You need to actually harness that inner genius of who you are, what art you are, whether it's, podcasting, you could be drawing a picture, you could be painting. There's so many arts out there you can do that it's unlimited, right? BCATP is one of those products that actually, and I'm going to be talking about it during the webinar as well. It's one of those things that actually help my brain get more clarity. So I was already doing pretty well, but man, let me tell you, the laser focus, it just kind of it honed me in, right? So I wasn't distracted as much. So a combination of just staying very productive in my day, plus these products. My wife's like, you got to go to bed at some point. You got to go to sleep. But because it actually it tunes you in, right?
Yeah.
And you become better at what you are. And I want people doing that stuff and being creative instead of being on a bunch of pharmaceuticals and just drowned out to life.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up because my younger sister, actually, I just heard from one of my other sisters that she was diagnosed with ADHD, and I'm like, what are you talking about? We were homeschooled. We hardly ever went to the doctor or anything like that. So this isn't something that she would have found when she was younger because my mom and dad just weren't into that stuff. But now, I mean, she's over 30 years old. I think she's actually like 35. And I'm like going, what are you talking about? Like, you're just creative, It's like,
Right.
you're, and so anyway, I should probably get some of this and send it over to her and see maybe she'll take it.
Right.
But because it's just nonsense. That she's such an amazing mind and creative and all of that sort of stuff. And like you said, I think it's just we just don't know what to do. I'm very similar to that. It's like I have like 8 books that I'm reading
at all
it's like
times.
I'm working on 4 or 5 different projects. Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Yeah, and it also does too. I always tell people, and I'm not trying to be the guy that connects you with God. That's not my job, right? But I have noticed when you take things like BCATP, you just stay in that creative realm, like you just stay focused, your spirituality really picks up. Like you become more connected. Like you hear that inner voice. You hear do this, don't do this. Okay, don't look at that. Stay over here. I truly do believe between, obviously proper product, proper nutrition, but also keeping your mind focused on creativity and your particular art. You just get closer to God. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah. Wow.
That's so good.
Yeah, can you bring that back up on the screen there, Alex?
Yeah.
So if you're interested in this, and if you haven't, if you don't want to buy some right now, I don't know what else could convince you, but it is good stuff. This brain candy, I highly recommend it. Absolutely love it.
Like I said,
yep.
Even for Matt and I, different personalities, all that kind of stuff, both of us have got benefits from it, and we can't recommend it enough to everybody.
Yeah, and so it's healthwithspero.com, healthwithspero.com, and you'll get a discount. And then there's other products. We're going to be doing some other small stuff on that. Just little snippets here. We're talking about these different products with Dr. Jason. But was there anything else about the brain candy that you'd want to mention that you didn't mention yet?
Yeah. So a couple different people that could really benefit from this. I hear a lot of women a lot of the times, and obviously men too. But I'll say women specifically. A lot of women are pretty tired, obviously hormone-wise, et cetera, after children, things like that. Women will struggle with the brain fog, will struggle with that. And I know women push through it because I see women every day who do this. So I know firsthand by talking to them, women will just push through their day, right? And they'll put on a smiley face and they'll get through the day and they'll do it, but they're just wiped out, right? BCATP, it's not going to solve all of it, but at least it'll bring you back online a little bit so you can start fixing the actual problem you have underlying, whether it's hormones or metals or parasites, et cetera. That's a big one. And then my purpose and goal from day one with this stuff and from healthcare in general with my wife is to save as many kids as we can. I was diagnosed in my mid-20s with the ADD, ADHD, which I later learned was just a diagnosis they basically voted on. There's no clinical evidence to it necessarily. Yes, there are traits that somebody might have that have problems with it that they can diagnose them with, but I don't want a bunch of people on psych drugs. I don't want a bunch of kids on psych drugs. They have homicidal, suicidal tendency, thoughts, behaviors, etc. Every single school shooting out there, the kids have been on psychotropic drugs at one point or another, 1 or 2 of those. I would much rather somebody get on a BCATP, get their kid focused, get them back in. At least that buys us time to get their brain working well enough. We can find out their artistic ability. We can find out what they love doing, etc. So really it comes down to that. It's part of my purpose is just to save a bunch of children, which in general saves generations.
No,
wow.
That's so good. Yeah. So again, you can go to Health with Spero, check out all of Dr. Jason Dean's stuff there. We are massive fans. He's done all the hard work for you. And we will link below the ADHD
ADHDlie.com. Yep.
Yeah. And for those of you that are watching this before the first, check it out. For those of you that are watching after the first, here's the link is going to be down below. It's going to be available afterwards, I'm assuming. Yes.
It'll not only be available on a recording, it'll go out to via email, but we'll also be doing recycling because what I also love to do is I don't like to stay on the current research. I like to constantly look deep. So I'll probably have another one in a alternative month after that with even more information. So my job is to constantly keep bringing newer information to save more and more people. So you'll get a recording if you jump into it, but also we'll keep doing it as well.
That's awesome. One of the best things that you could do is take care of yourself, take care of your family, focus on your health, because there's too many other stressful things going on in life. You may as well feel good. It's going to help you deal with everything that's going on a whole heck of a lot better and a lot clearer. And so we really thank you, Dr. Jason,